Hello, my friends. We are going to talk about the Android manifest.xml file. We go to the project, we select the manifest folder, we click on it, the Android manifest.xml. It opens for us this file. So let's learn about this concept and this file. Every app project must have an Android manifest.xml file with precisely that name, exactly this name, Android manifest.xml, at the root of the project source set. The manifest file describes essential information about your app to Android build tools, the Android operating systems, and the Google Play. So, among many other things, the manifest is required to declare the following: the app's package name, the components of your app, the permission that app needs in order to access protected parts of the system or other apps, and the hardware and the software features that the app requires.
If you want to learn Android app development and start publishing your own apps, as thousands of people did, join our Udemy bestseller and high-rated course with a free coupon in the description below.
Okay, so let's learn. We start learning about the sections and the data inside this file. The file features the package name and the application ID. The manifest file's root element requires an attribute for your app's package name, usually matching your project directory structure, the Java namespace. So, for example, if you see that here we have the manifest root, this is the root element with the package name package com.mastercoding.helloworld2. So if we go to the project, we go to here to Java, and we see that it is com.mastercoding.helloworld.2. So this is the main project folder, and this is the package matching this. Okay, if we select the project here, if we go to the app, source, main, Java, com.mastercoding.helloworld, it is exactly the same as the package name. So this is very important, and they should be matching. While building your app into the final application package APK, the Android build tools use the package attribute for two things. Why we use this? It applies the name as the namespace for your app's generated R.Java class used to access your app resources. So, example, with the above manifest, the R class is created at here, com.mastercoding.helloworld.r. And it uses this name to resolve any relative class names that are declared in the manifest file. So, for example, with the above manifest and an activity declared as activity here. Okay, so com.mastercoding.helloworld.second activity or .main activity. So you see, guys, it has been resolved and known the package that contains the other activities. Okay, the distinction between the package name in the manifest and the application ID in the build.gradle file can be a bit confusing, but if you keep the same name, you have nothing to worry about. So this is the build, the Gradle, application ID. If we select the Android model, so application ID, please keep the application ID and the manifest package name the same in order to to be confused and not to have any trouble in your app. The app component. Let's talk. We have talked about the package and the manifest tag. Now let's talk about the application component. For each app component that you will create in your app, you must declare a corresponding XML element in the manifest file. For example, we have created in the previous example an activity called second activity. So it is automatically declared. But if you create a new class like this as third activity, this is a class, not an activity, and I need to transform it to till now it will not being declared in the manifest. Okay, so this is the second activity, and this is the main activity. Since I have created a class, so it will not declare it as a class here. But where is the trouble? If I make this class an activity by extending it like app compat activity, okay? So I have transformed this third activity class into an activity, okay? So if I run the app, it will give me an error. Why? If I try to access the third activity, okay? So why? Because I need to declare the activity that I have created now inside the application tag here between this and this. So the activity, I can declare it everywhere between the application tag. So I prefer putting them here. We start by declaring Android activity tag. Start by Android name. What is the name? It is dot third activity. Okay, we have created here. And Android exported equal to false. Okay, so this is the way we have declared our created activity. Now, if I try to create a new activity inside the folder, the resource folder, or the Java folder, I will create an activity now. Empty activity, I will name it as fourth activity. I will click enter, so it will generate the Gradle sync progress, and I wait for the Gradle build to finish. Okay, so this is the fourth activity. The purpose of creating like this activity is to see that in the manifest have been adding the activity to it. Okay, so if we close it and then reopen it, we will wait till adding it. Okay, you see it, this is the fourth activity have been added to the manifest. If we try to remove this activity and we go to our main activity, and we have created a button in the previous videos and a text, edit text. This will take us for the second activity. I will change the button click and make it take us the fourth activity. Okay, not the second activity, it was the second activity, now it becomes the fourth activity. If I click run, let's see what happens. If I enter the name John and say hello, it exits. If we go to the run, there is an error. We click on the blue and start the activity. So we are having a trouble in starting the activity. So this is the importance of Android manifest. Everything may look fine, and you don't have an error either in the XML or in the Java or the activity itself. But there is a trouble because we didn't declare this activity into the manifest. So if we declare it and then try to run, then we don't have any trouble. Okay, so it's it opens the fourth activity. So it's very important to think about all of your application activities, all of your components, app components like service, receiver, and the provider, in order to declare them all. By the way, you can declare the activity here. Also, inside the application component, we need to declare also the services for each subclass of the service. So here we can declare the service. Here also we can declare the receiver. We declare the provider, and so on. We will talk about them later in this video. So any subclass of any of these components, without declaring them in the manifest, the system cannot start it. So activities, services, receivers, and the providers. Okay, so the activity, service, broadcast receiver, and the content provider. Okay, these should be declared in the manifest. The intent filter. If we scroll down to here, we have an activity that is not the same as this. It has an intent filter. This is common between the previously created activities. Now let's see the intent filter. We have app activities, services, and broadcast receivers are activated by intents. An intent is a message defined by an intent object that describes an action to perform, including the data to be acted upon. So the category of component that should perform the action and the other instruction. When the app issues an intent to the system locates an app component that can handle the intent based on the intent filter declaration in each app's manifest file. Okay, so the system launch as an instance of the matching component and passes the intent object to the component. If we look here, there is an action and a category. So what does this mean? These are also included inside the intent filter, and we will talk about them in the next couple of minutes. So the action will add an action to the intent filter, and the category adds a category name to the intent filter. These we'll talk about them later, but I should mention that we need the action is to send and tell that this activity is the main activity, and the category here is to make it as a launcher activity. So when a user click on the app in his telephone or his mobile, the main activity will be launched because it has the intent filter telling the Android system that this activity is the first to be launched. Okay, this is the usage of the intent filter, and it's very important to specify which activity should be launching at first. Okay, now let's talk about the permission. Android apps must request permission to access sensitive data such as contacts, SMS, internet, and so on. So each permission is identified by unique label. For example, an app that needs to send an SMS must have the following line in the manifest. So we can declare here in the manifest tag, under the manifest tag, and not under the application tag, we need to make uses permission. What is the name of the permission? We can see that we have a lot of permissions that we can specify or ask the system, the Android system, to make or request. So Android name, we can put the Android.permission.send SMS. Okay, this is requesting the permission to send SMS. Another example uses permission. I need to access the internet, so I need to allow the user to access the internet, so he should grant the access for my app to the internet in order to use the internet in my services, in my activities, and so on. So this is very important. All of these permissions should be included. So if you have an app that will display a web page without declaring the internet permission, it will do nothing, because it will request the internet and it cannot access the internet without sending the SMS or making any Bluetooth connection or anything without guaranteeing the permission. Also, we have uses feature. Uses feature element allows you to declare hardware and software features to your app needs. For example, if your app cannot achieve basic functionality on a device without a compass sensor, you can declare the compass sensor as required with the following manifest tag. So uses feature, we start by Android name. Android name. What is the name? It is the compass. So this is the hardware.sensor.compass, and Android required equal to true. Okay, this is how we declare the Android feature. Android SDK or uses SDK. Each successive platform version often adds a new API not available in the previous version. To indicate the minimum version with which your app is compatible, your manifest must include uses SDK tag and its minimum SDK version. If we scroll down here, we can put them in the Groovy. Okay, like if we go to the Gradle, and we see that it is the minimum and the target SDK and the minimum SDK. This defines the minimum API level required to run the app, and this specifies the API level used to test the app. And this is the Android manifest that we have talked about. So the action tag that we have talked about adds an action to an intent filter. The category will add a category name to an intent filter. The application tag is the declaration of the application. The activity declares an activity component. The intent filter here specifies the types of intents that an activity, service, or broadcast receiver can respond to, and the permission that we have talked about is used for requesting the permissions from the user. Okay, And this is about the manifest. It's very important file, and we should know this because we need to configure everything in this manifest while publishing our app, and we will talk about this manifest